And we are back again. Your friendly neighborhood film watchers. We are Frankie Football. I'm your humble host, Brandon, and I got my man, Honey Grant. Set it off, Chris, with me. How you feeling tonight, Chris?
What's up, yo, man? We just getting together, man. Just trying to be more consistent, man. But more importantly, man, just conversing, through the week, and definitely want to sit down and go ahead and finish up our walk through this draft. All 32 teams, give our ins and outs of what we think they should do, the direction they should go. And we said we're going to get down tonight on the Patriots, bro.
Yeah, that's going to be the first of many that we get on tonight. First of few,
Yeah,
but
we got a couple.
The interesting thing about the Patriots, Chris, they kind of are entering unknown territory because not only are they without the greatest quarterback of all time, but they're now out in one of the greatest head coaches in all time as well, because Bill Belichick stepped away, right?
Absolutely.
Bill said, you know what, I'm sick of y'all. I'm out. Send my last check.
Well, most importantly, they were probably more sick of him than he was of them. And they turned around. If you've watched the Dynasty documentary, which I haven't put my eyes to, but I did read the book, they were to the point. This was one of those, we appreciate your time, but carry your ass. That's how they felt about Bill. So,
sure enough.
I think it was one of those things that now the New England Patriots get to go back to the New England Patriots. I watched them growing up. The last 20 years, years, they've been the epitome of what a dynasty is.
Yes.
And now they get an opportunity to go back to being who they were with, Steve Grogan and Big Bam Cunningham, names that people don't even know who the heck I'm talking about. And going back to sucking. And that's why they got the third pick in the draft this year.
Absolutely. And they've been very open about what they want to do with that third pick as well. If they have the pick, they're going to draft a quarterback.
Well, I mean, it just makes sense. The problem for them, Brandon, is they're in no man's land when it comes to quarterbacks.
What do you mean by that? Explain.
Okay,
explain.
No problem. Well, it's really when you're drafting a quarterback this high, right? You really want to have the pick of the litter, and right now it's really between two guys. It's between Caleb Williams out of USC and Drake May out of North Carolina. When you start, both excellent picks. Honestly, if Caleb wasn't in this draft, Drake would be number one. But because Caleb is in this draft, Caleb's number one. But now when you look at the Patriots, they want a quarterback. So now they have to deal with the revolving, or I don't know, and does this quarterback fit our area and our system? Let me explain this. So because they play in the Northeast, up in the New England states, it's bad weather.
Boston,
Massachusetts, and where Foxborough, it's bad weather, right? And so you want a guy who can be able to play late into the season, throwing in places like Buffalo in the winter, and dealing with New York in the winter. So you kind of want a strong arm quarterback. The problem is the first two quarterbacks off the board are your two biggest strong arm quarterbacks inside this draft. So that's where we turn around and say, okay, you're kind of in no man's land, because you can either take the athletic, shifty Jalen Daniels, you can go ahead and take the long throwing but often frequently injured Michael Penix Jr., or then you can get into that charade of guys who are going to get people fired, and we're going to talk about those guys when we talk about our big board of the other quarterbacks at the top of the draft that people have been talking about. But if they want to go get a quarterback, they're kind of like in no man's land.
See, in a way, I disagree, because yes, Caleb Williams and Drake May are both fantastic, right?
Absolutely.
But when it comes to actually throwing the ball, doing traditional quarterback things, Michael Penix probably has the most talent out of it. His body just portrays him constantly.
Yeah, on a frequent basis. Right. Okay.
Yeah, and it's been that way for a couple years. He, two shoulders, two ACLs. And, any team that would even think of drafting him would wince once you see his medical report, right?
Right.
But I think that Michael Penix had the benefit of a clean bill of health at the combine. That may have helped his stock.
Yeah, it probably definitely helped his stock, but you can't sit up and say we're picking at the third pick that you want to get a guy who has an injury history and an extensive injury history. So you're putting a lot of hope that good old hopium on the line to
Yes.
go around and take a often injured quarterback.
Mhm.
So if you don't take him, then you take the slightly built but very athletic and talented Jalen Daniels.
Yes.
Which is a good deal.
Mhm.
But the thing about it is that now you're worried about, can he deal with the elements and the different things that comes with playing big time football in the AFC, especially in the winter months. That's what you're looking at.
I get it. Now you leaving out a guy that I like, right? No, don't roll your eyes at me, Chris. You are leaving out a guy that I like.
Go ahead.
I'm a big fan of JJ McCarthy, Chris. I think that JJ is a battle-tested quarterback. You you didn't really earlier when we talked. You said that Jaden Daniels doesn't have he doesn't have the patches on his sleeve. If we talking about army fatigues, right?
Okay.
He doesn't have the patches on his sleeve that some of the other guys do. JJ McCarthy, on the other hand, made it to the playoffs last year.
Okay, man.
And did his Stephon Diggs picture. When they lost,
right?
But the following year, he actually made it back.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about a guy that's battle tested, that's decorated, JJ McCarthy's name should be higher up on that list, and I think a lot of people give him credit for it. You compare JJ to another quarterback in the league. I'm not sure if that's a player comp, but you compared his arc to another player in league history. Talk about that.
Okay, so my thing with JJ McCarthy, right? And I think the pedigree, and I think a lot of people are getting into this realm where they think, oh, JJ McCarthy, battle tested, played at Michigan, didn't throw the ball a lot. So he's kind of like another guy that played in Michigan that was kind of, under the radar, and he's going to be just like him. Stop that. He's not Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. 2.0. He's
not that. But who did you say he is?
That guy. I say he's a guy going to get your ass fired a lot.
I mean, sure.
I'm not a huge JJ McCarthy fan.
Okay.
Man, we were talking. Who did I say that guy reminded me of? Give me a. Who did I say, B?
I believe you said it was the Jets quarterback, the one that they just recently let go. Wilson. Zach Wilson.
Well, see, the reason. Okay, Zach Williams had a really great combine. He had that one good year at BYU. I don't think he's Zach Wilson. No, I don't think he's Zach Wilson. I do think he's a little bit. I think he's a little bit more highly overrated.
No, Justin Herbert.
Oh,
you said Justin Herbert.
Oh, they're gonna. Okay, that's what. Okay, I remember we were talking. Okay, because we talk about so much stuff. Yeah, I think they're gonna comp him to Justin Herbert because a lot of people, when he was at Oregon, Justin Herbert was in college. Okay, he was the big guy, big arm. He was just in a situation where he didn't have all the pieces around him, and they're going to give him benefit of the doubt, which they've given Justin Herbert his entire career the benefit of the doubt. Not that he don't win. Not that he's he makes terrible passes and doesn't come up big at certain moments, but they're just going to keep giving him benefit of the doubt until he wins and then say, aha, he won. But that's a whole nother discussion.
That's right.
My feeling is, I think a lot of people are high on JJ McCarthy out of the blue. And and it's been a lot of talk around this process with GM saying, oh, how great he is. My problem is, when I start talking, when GMs are saying it, that's okay. I want to know what the scouts are saying because the GMs aren't grinding tape. The GMs aren't sitting there every Saturday watching this kid. Now, did he play for a good program in Michigan where they kind of turned the clock back and made it into 1990, early 2000, where you ran the football, played great defense, and didn't throw the ball a lot? That's what they did. I'm just saying from my perspective, I'm not a huge JJ McCarthy fan. Now they said he's great with throwing on. He's got a great arm. He has the ability to do certain things. I just haven't seen him do it in college. So he's a wait and see guy for me. I'm to the point. He has all the other intangibles that people love. I'm a team first guy. Kind of like the other guy that was in Michigan 20 some odd years ago. But he's slightly built. And
I'm glad that you used the word slightly, because you're not necessarily going to build an offense around his athleticism. I mean, he can scoot, but I don't think that you'll regularly get those Mahomesian like 15-yard runs that nobody expects. I'm not comping him to Pat, Chris. I'm not pumping the brakes.
Okay,
I'm
man.
not comping him to Pat. But what I'm saying is, Pat has that sneaky athleticism where he can get you 15 as needed. I don't think that a team will rely on McCarthy's athleticism remotely. Sure, he can evade a tackler, but he won't scoop, right? Now, when he did go into a very pro-style offense in Michigan as a starter in 2022, I think that he struggled with reads, right? He, after that first read, flip of the coin.
Okay.
That's an area that I think that he definitely improved on in 2023. And we saw it. It might have been because of Blake Corum's increased role, who knows? But his ability to move to the second and third read was highly increased.
Okay. And listen, I have no doubt in that. I think when everybody turned around and loved the fact of the matter that he came back, he improved, and when they needed him to throw the ball more for Michigan, but it wasn't like they were throwing the ball a whole lot. Yeah, a lot of games.
They leaned on Blake Corum and the other running back who's not coming out this year, so I don't remember his name.
Yeah, but he gonna be high. He gonna be high next year because everybody's just waiting for him to get the ball. Absolutely. So I'm not a big JJ McCarthy fan as you are. We're gonna turn around and talk. They're talking about 6 quarterbacks going in the first round. I think three of them are gonna be great, and I think 3 of them are gonna have folks wives mad at them because they're gonna have to be talking to a realtor because they're gonna lose their job.
Possibly. Now let me ask you this. We talked about the quarterbacks ad nauseum, right? Who do you think the Patriots will pick? Since we're talking about the number 3 pick, the Patriots are on the clock. They got 3 minutes to make that pick. Who do you think that they will pick?
They're at 4 areas of need. They need a quarterback, one. Yes. They need a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. They need a tackle, but they also need an edge rusher. Mm-hmm. But
now I'm of the opinion that you draft a lineman every year. So I think that even if it wasn't a tackle, take a old lineman.
Right. But the problem goes back to this. You don't have a quarterback. So since you don't have a quarterback, you're kind of in a position where you can't do BPA. You have to go draft for need. And very seldom are you wanting to be a team that's in the top 5 or top 10 where you're trying to go get a quarterback. So somebody's going to have to pull the trigger on the other 3 or taking the unknown, or can you build an offense around Jay McDaniels? And I like McDaniels. I like not McDaniels, but Jay Daniels. I like him. I like his game. I like what he brings to it. He's big, but he's another slightly built guy.
Yeah.
And so and the thing about it is that they don't have a really good offensive line. You're going to have to throw that guy in day one.
Yeah.
And I think he has a better chance of succeeding because of his mobility, right? As they continue to build pieces around him.
But here's the thing about Jaden Daniels at the same time, Chris. When you talk about guys that have, high level production, his sample size isn't very high. He really only has like 1 season of high level production, right?
Absolutely.
So that alongside the type of play that he uses, where he can put his body at risk more often. He doesn't really have like the sliding down pat yet. He'll try to run out of bounds. And that's what led to Alabama laying the wood on him and really banged him up in the middle of the season. Those are the things that he has to learn. But at the same time, he is a legit running threat. I think that he has more than enough arm strength to make the throws that they're going to ask of him.
Absolutely.
And he's just fundamentally sound, right?
I got you. So if I'm going to take that pick and be able to kind of bring hope to my fan base, and then have a guy who can make plays while I continue to build stuff around him, I'm taking Jaden Daniels at 3 for the Patriots. That's what I'm taking.
Yeah, right? and I wouldn't necessarily even be upset at them about that, because Daniels is an extremely high upside quarterback, right?
Right.
Extremely high upside, and they have a clear need for the position. So
and they can then turn around and fill some of those other spots because they've got the number 3 pick, they got the number 34 pick, They got the number 68 pick, and then they got a French top 100 pick at 103. Right at the French. And I think you can fill those other holes with wide receivers, finding a serviceable tackle, or go, edge rusher.
Yep. And this is a very deep tackle class. Extremely deep tackle class. Let's a little bit more shallow at guard and center, but tackle, they're everywhere in this draft.
Yeah, or guys who are going to be tackles are going to turn around and push inside the guard. So true tackles, not a lot, but guys who can play and be productive at the next level, definitely that guards and centers are definitely deep. Right.
Absolutely. So on to the team who is number 4, 104, right?
Yes.
The Arizona Cardinals.
Man. Arizona Cardinals.
The Cardinals are a team that doesn't necessarily have a need at quarterback.
No, they got nope.
They have a large contract for Kyler Murray. We don't know how the fan base and the front office feels about Kyler Murray, right?
Right.
But they have a large contract in Kyler Murray, so as a result, they don't have a need at quarterback. Right?
No.
They've also decided to trade away some of their receivers. What's going on, Stevie, Matt, John, Shaheem? How y'all doing, fellas? Thank y'all for popping in.
So bad, yeah.
So they are a team that has a clear need at wide receiver because they decided to trade away Hollywood Brown. Well, was he traded or was he? Hollywood Brown isn't there anymore, right?
Hollywood ain't there no more. We ain't in Hollywood in Arizona, which is kind of this is this guy's third team, but that's a whole nother different subject, whole different thing,
right?
Right.
But the Cardinals have as a result, a very clear need at receiver. They also need linemen everywhere.
Right.
They also can use defensive line help. They need DBs. But when you refer to the board, and I've watched 139 players. I may not watch anymore, and I'm not good at evaluating DBs, so I haven't gotten to corner or safety much at all. I know guys that I've watched last year who I really like. Big fan of Max Milton, but whatever. But besides that, I am not very good at evaluating DB.
Okay.
Outside of those two positions, I have to watch 139 players, right? And it's very obvious who the Cardinals should pick, what position group they should pick, right? They're taking a wide receiver at 3. At 4 if they're there.
Okay. So
now, what we have is kind of like a quandary. I kind of like Malik Neighbors better than Marvin Harrison, Chris.
Okay. Okay. I can understand why you like Malik Neighbors a little bit more than
1A, 1B. 1A, 1B.
Okay, so I never try to say anything disparaging about certain people's sons because they do certain things that nobody ever find out they did anything about, but it's still alleged. Yeah. And I don't try to talk too bad about them. But I want to use a term that our buddy and our friend and our brother Skywalker Steele, salute, we gonna say to you, man, is that never get bored with greatness.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what has happened to many folks looking at this with they've done it with Caleb Williams because for the past 2 years, Caleb Williams has been the best quarterback in the country. Yet still, we still kind of debated. And then it comes to the same thing with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
We've grown numb to greatness. We've known.
I haven't. I haven't.
Well, I mean, but you like Malik Neighbors. Now, I understand why you would like Malik Neighbors because Malik Neighbors, when they say he runs fast, he looks like he runs fast. Does he look like he gets separation? He does. When he go get the football, he does. He's very, very explosive.
Absolutely.
But because I've kind of been on the trail, I've been able to see certain people up close and personal, and I saw Marvin Harrison Jr. up close and personal at a practice field.
During your
my recruiting
ventures around the country.
Yeah, my ventures around the earth.
Yes.
But I also got to see him play when I finally fell in love. Like I had an idea who he was, but when I saw him go play against Penn State in their building, and he gave Joey Porter Jr. the absolute business. The business.
Crazy.
I mean, I don't even like you, but yeah, man. He put that. He clocked in on his ass, man.
Yeah,
and he was an absolute nightmare playing in up in Beaver Stadium that day. And it was like 12 passes, 130 yards, and a tud, and it was just 3rd down to 7. We going to him, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Absolutely. And Joey Porter is an absolute playmaker, but there was nothing he could do with him.
Absolutely.
And so he's been the best wide receiver in the country for the last 2 years.
I would even go beyond that. I would say that Marvin Harrison is probably the most complete prospect in this year, right?
Oh, he is.
I think that he's versatile in his releases. You know, whether it is with space between him and the guy, or if he's against the press.
Right.
I think that he has amazing body control.
Right.
For guys his size, if you need him to go out there and do the Odell backward dive and catch, he can just as easily as he can do a contested catch.
Absolutely.
I think that his skill set is that complete.
Right.
You know, you mentioned his short hands. He might be the first person that might sweat stick him. First person I've ever seen that ever sweat stick him.
Okay.
And then he also has the footwork to bring it together, right? So I think that you have a complete prospect in Marvin Harrison. What you want from him, what you may desire from him that you don't have is after he catches the ball, you know, his stride may be so long that maybe the yak speed doesn't look like it.
Well, no, he's
separation from guys.
Right, but that's what you see with Neighbors. So what you see with Neighbors, he catches the ball and he gets away from people. Yeah. Kind of like how we saw with Tank Dell, or kind of like when we saw with other wide receivers. If they catch the ball, they're yak, like a CeeDee Lamb. They catch the ball, they're a yak monster. With Marvin Harrison Jr., you don't see that. It's just to the point he just gets the ball, he's away from everybody, and he can get away, he can run and go for it. So he may not be track fast, but he's football fast.
Absolutely.
And because he gets such great separation, he can get away in such a long strider, you kind of take away from that. So absolutely, I can understand what people would have, trying to figure out between Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Roma Duzier, and things like that. But for me, if I'm gonna spend a top 4 pick in the draft, I'm gonna go with Marvin Harrison Jr.
And I would not disagree with you.
I want to look back. Yeah, no, man. I would run.
Nah,
not at all. Not at all. And then, so the Cardinals have the 4th pick. What are the other picks they have? They got the 4th pick.
They have the 4th pick, the 27th pick. So they have 2 picks in day 1.
Right. And then they got the 30.
And then they got the 35, 66, 71, and 90. They have. And then 104, which is a fringe top 100. So they have 6 top 100 picks, and then a pick so close they got to leave space for Jesus in between. Right?
Yeah, you got to do that. So with that being said, man, that is a lot of room for a team to kind of change the way their franchise is going in one draft.
Absolutely.
And if you can hit, so the hit rate in the draft, you really kind of want to go up maybe 30%. You want to go about 30%?
Wow, Chris. Of their 10 picks, 5 of them are in the top 100, and 1 is this close. That is a franchise-altering draft in an incredibly deep draft. Yeah. Chris, that is ridiculous. If I were a Cardinals fan, I'd be ecstatic right now.
And so you could basically,
I would be through the roof. You
could sit and just pick.
Yeah.
Your first 4 picks.
I would never trade. I would not trade. This year, no trades.
I mean, you can meet all your needs because you need a wide receiver. You can get him. You can get a top flight guard at 27 or a center at 27.
Yes.
You can get a top flight guard at 35, top of the 2nd round.
Yes.
Man, you can get a definitely. Dude, I'm telling you, they can meet all their needs in one draft and walk out.
At the end of day 2, they could just clock out. They can clock out at the end of day 2.
Man, I'm telling you, it's a great opportunity for them to do some things. Definitely a great opportunity for them. So that's the Cardinals.
That's who I think that now going beyond that, are there? I've mentioned that this guard class, this center class, is a bit more light. Let me not even do this close. It's a bit more light than the tackle class, right?
Right.
Would you be open to solidifying your O-line early, or would you try to, get an edge rusher, get a 1 tech or 3 tech, for example, like that, to give opposition fits, or you trying to give Kyler as much help as possible?
I don't feel it's smart
in the later rounds. In rounds.
Oh, in the later rounds.
In rounds 2 and 3. Round 1, no. It is receiver or nothing. right?
No, it's receiver nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go around in later with the guards at 27. At 27, I could turn around and get a Brad Barton from Duke.
Oh,
Move him.
man.
Hey man, I'm sorry, bro. It would. But I mean, but you're still in position at 27.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of may miss the rush
Yeah.
of guard centers or top flight guard centers that you can be able to go get. But that would be because Graham Barton is like the second tier of centers that you would turn around and get. And then
probably, and then this is very general, he's probably the most interesting O-line prospect in this draft because I think he can play all 5 spots.
Yeah, that's where you would look at him. But I can get him later in the first round. But or
it would hurt my soul if they picked him. It would hurt my soul if they picked him, Chris.
It really don't matter to me because if I get my guy at 24, it doesn't really matter. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do about it.
I get you.
But so if I get my guy who I want at that spot, but that would be the move that I would make if I had to. And then, like I said, because you have 6 picks in the top 100, you can go and fill all the different because it's so deep. You've got plenty of edge rushers.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to find some guys. I like my man Beebe out of Kansas State. I think
Connor Beebe.
Yes, sir. I
like him. I like him.
I love him.
K-State had some gems, man. K-State had some gems.
I love his game. I love his leadership. I love the guy. 4-year starter, man. Just a guy that just came and go to work, man. Yeah. And took charge. So I love him in the late, and maybe in the 3rd, maybe 4th round. I don't think that's a reach with him.
Nah, so, I don't think he makes it that far.
I think his leadership intangibles pushes him up a little bit, but because you have 6 picks in the top 100, I see how you can make some big noise with them.
Okay,
Definitely.
okay. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this about pick number 27. You have Graham Barton available, but then you also got Liatu Latu out of UCLA, one of my favorite edge rushers. Who would you pick?
Is Jared Verse off the board?
He's probably the best pure edge rusher in the draft, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume so.
If Latu is there, you got to go get him. Whoever gets him,
you would forego on O-line.
Oh yes,
to get one of those premier edge rushers.
Absolutely, you have to go get. What do we want to go get? What are the things we need? We need a quarterback. What's the top 5? Quarterback,
receiver, all O-line, all O-line.
A guy who can catch the ball, a guy who can protect the quarterback, the guy who can go get the quarterback, and the guy who can defend the guy from catching the ball. Those are your top 5. Those are your power 5 positions. So if I can go get the second best pass rusher on the board compared to maybe a transitional guard center, I'll do that because they already got a tackle, so they're fine in that area.
Okay. I hear you. I just wanted to pick your brain about that. See how far down the O-line rabbit hole you were willing to go before you said, this other position is more valuable.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially if you can get a guy like him, because he is a matchup nightmare. He his speed to power, his technique, all the different things that he does makes him invaluable, especially if Verse is off the board. And if you don't want to believe me, you can go check out one of our homies, Vosh Lombardi. He's done so many breakdowns on my man that he's made me a believer of him. So that's
I was a big fan. I was a big fan. He even through the neck injury. The neck injury of this one was 3 years ago, but even through the neck injury, right?
Okay.
Because I think he has a judo-like precision with his hands.
Hand game is nice.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
That man could juggle while rushing the passer. I think he's so good. Right? But then I also think that first step. That dash of agility that he has,
gotcha,
it's probably better than Verse in my opinion. That first step that I think he has is better than Jared Verse.
I love Verse's story. I love Verse's travel to this point, but I also just love Verse's upside. Verse's got another level that I think he can go to, and so that's what makes him so intriguing.
Yeah, I understand.
He's a productive kid. Yeah, very productive.
But then I also think that Latu doesn't necessarily have the length that you're looking for. Pause. I think that he doesn't have he is genetically challenged in the arm category. He's
you know what?
tall, but it's like they
man,
ran out of points once they got to his arms. You know what I'm saying?
I put it like this, man. They said the same thing about Terrell Suggs, man. They
You're
said
right.
the same thing about him. And all that dude did was just put a Hall of Fame career together.
Mhm.
So, Judge, don't worry so much about the measurables, but see what he does on the field, man. And that make a difference who it was, man. He gave everybody business there in the defunct Pac-12, and he's gonna be a really good pro, man.
Yeah, and I would be putting up film for these guys, but the University of Michigan hit me with a copyright strike, and I'm not trying to get in trouble with that no more.
No.
So
Okay.
yeah,
All right,
that's
man.
hey man,
That's
that's
how we
why
get down.
running back video isn't up anymore.
Okay. I got you. Well, listen, that's the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But if we move to the 5th pick in the draft, man, we deal with another Michigan guy, former Michigan guy. In the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh in his first draft back to the NFL.
Yeah.
What are you thinking they're going to do there?
The Chargers gave up Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Their number 1 and number 2 receiver when they're on the field.
Okay.
All right.
They got no one pick they had from last year. Remember, they got him.
Quentin Johnston.
Yeah.
Kind of did the thing that I said he was going to do.
Right.
Doesn't play like he's 6'4", right?
No, not at all.
Chris, where would Quentin Johnston rank in this draft?
In this draft?
Yeah. Last draft was the shorter, faster guys, and Quentin Johnston was the giant among them, right? He was the giant among men. This draft has everybody, that were gifted with height, and speed is not as prevalent, right? Where would Quentin Johnston rank in this draft?
You would hit me with that off the top of my head. Hold on.
I do what I do.
You do what you do. You do what you do. Let's see. Hold on. If I had to put, so let's see. Okay, he's not better than Marvin.
Nope.
He's not better than Neighbors. He's not better than Dunze. He's not better than Brian Thomas.
So he's already receiver 5, in your opinion?
Yeah.
If he were in this class?
If he was in this class, he'd be receiver 5.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna take him before I take
what about Go ahead.
It's your show. Go ahead, you do it.
All right. It's our show. What about Troy Franklin, Oregon? What about Roman Wilson? What about Keon Coleman?
Okay, that's number 6. So he's number 6. Because I'm gonna take Coleman before I take him. Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell. I'm taking him before I take Mitchell. I'm taking him before I take Ladd McConkey.
Okay.
I'm taking him before I take let's see, Ladd, and let's see what else I got. I like Troy. Yeah, he's better than Roman Wilson. He's better than Ricky Pearsall. Yeah, he's better than Jermaine Burton. Yeah. So he's number 6.
Okay.
Number 6.
Receiver 6. Okay.
Yeah, he's number 6. Yeah, that's a far fall from being receiver 1 last year.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
But
what a difference a year makes.
Here's the thing: the Chargers have an opportunity to add one of those top 5 guys this year.
Right.
It should be Malik Neighbors, but the Chargers have the opportunity to add one of those top 5 guys this year. When you look at the board, the board, that video is coming soon where we release that information.
Right.
But when you look at the board, it would be almost criminal to take a lesser ranked prospect over Malik Neighbors, even if the need may be, kind of better or higher. Let me say, because the Chargers defense, Chris, I think they need every position on defense. They need for Asante Samuel Jr. I think that they could use every position on defense. They can use a guy. Too. I don't know.
They can use a guy at all 3 levels. They can use a D lineman. They can use a linebacker, as well as they can use a cornerback, another cornerback. Yeah. But the problem is, my boy, they only got 3 picks in the top 100. Right. So I'm now
and then one that's touching, right? So they got 5, 37, 69, and 105, which is an honorable mention. It's right there.
Right. So they find themselves in the prime spot to draft, to fall back, to trade back.
You would trade back rather than get the higher talent.
Listen, my thing is that they need pieces because they're changing their identity. Yes. They're going from this high-powered, throw the ball over the field. Yeah. Because last year they were supposed to have this top flight offensive coordinator that was going to be able to help make somebody a better quarterback, and he would be. I'm just saying, maybe Kelly. Some guy who left there and they got rid of him more, and they sent him to Philadelphia. I don't know, something like that. But they're changing their identity to being a run first, defensive sound team because that's the way the identity of their coach flows. Yeah. So I would see them turning around, taking that 5th pick and trading back and going
to a team that needs a quarterback.
Man, these quarterback hungry teams. A team like maybe the Giants if they want to come up and get a quarterback. Or better yet, the team that I think that they're gonna try to get them for is the Vikings. They're gonna try to get 11, and they're gonna try to get that 23rd pick.
Yeah,
fall back
and maybe more depending on how many teams are calling. Because
it depends.
Quiet as kept. We don't know how much longer Aaron Rodgers is gonna be in the league. So the Jets could be calling.
They could
the Broncos are. These are 3 teams in a row. Right.
Yep.
In 11 and 12, the Jets, the Vikings, and the Broncos could all be kicking down the door.
But the thing about it is that the Broncos and the Vikings are in more dire straits for a quarterback than the Jets are.
Yes.
So, the Chargers can get greedy and run the price up because they know they got 2 guys, and at that point, the prize of the draft will either be Jaden Daniels or JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
Sure,
absolutely. Never
Michael Penn.
Exactly. That second tier of guys. That second tier of guys.
Those was really only 2 because that last guy they trying to throw in the first round. I don't know why they trying to throw him in there. But like I said, so for everybody that's kicking it with us and spend 37 minutes with us. The 6 quarterbacks they're talking about are going in the first round. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jane Daniels, Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy, and Bo Nix. 3 of them guys gonna have somebody wife divorcing them because they gonna be on Zulu. Zulu looking for a daggone house, man. Because they're to me, those other 3 have a lot more warts to them.
Yes.
Then one of them looks like is warded up like a frog to me. But that's when we do our top 50 board. I'll let you know how I feel for sure. But those 3 teams between the Jets, the Broncos, and the Vikings, and man, you could throw the Raiders in there as well.
Yeah.
Shoot you. Matter of fact, the next 5 teams are going to be giving up anything they want. From 10 to 14 are in dire straits for a quarterback. And there's only 3 on the board.
It is weird how that fell. It is very weird how that fell.
So Harbaugh's in a position where he can get whatever he wants.
The world is his oyster.
It is. So if he turns around and he trades back, if he trades back to the Broncos, he can get what they have on the clock.
Yes.
If he turns around and trades back to the Raiders. So let's see. Okay, right now
Minnesota honestly has the most to offer. The Broncos don't have a second round pick.
Right. So with that 11th and 23rd pick, right, you can take those 2 and then turn around and get another pick in the 3rd round from them.
Yeah.
You win. You get those 3 picks and you win. You get out of Dodge and win. Yeah. And that's what I would do.
You make a strong argument, sir. You make a strong argument.
I'm just telling you what I would do if I'm the Vikings. I got a team that can win. If I can get a quarterback and with the other pieces I need, let's go. But let's look what the Vikings need. The Vikings need. Let's see. The Vikings are right now.
Of course, they need a quarterback. They need every single space in the O line.
Right.
I think that they could use like a 3 tech. I think that they need a corner or a safety.
Right.
They gave up what's the name to Seattle, their tight end.
And
Wasn't that
but
Irv Smith?
the problem with the Vikings is if
And
they
TJ
give up
Hawkinson.
that, but if they give up 11 and 23,
Yes.
they're not picking the day 3
Yeah.
because they go to pick 108.
Yeah.
So they're banking on this quarterback that they get, this fourth quarterback that comes off the board, being the guy to help elevate them to certain end. Because all their capital is gone. They got 11 and 23, and the next time they pick is they pick 108. So they're gonna have to make some moves and shake. They're gonna have to make a lot of noise on day 3 of the draft.
Yeah.
So
that's just gonna be one of those situations. If they are going to be the suitor for the pick, for the Chargers pick, which I could definitely see, some trades happening early because teams are going to be beating down these quarterbacks' door. Their phone is going to, overheat.
Because they want to get the one guy. They're going to want to get the guy they want.
Absolutely.
See what I'm saying?
And if you have the pick of the litter, that gives you the most options, right?
Absolutely. So if I'm Harbaugh at 5, I'm gonna fleece Minnesota.
Yeah.
And get their 2 first-round draft picks.
Why not?
And then I'm gonna come back with 11, 23, then my own 37th pick, and then I can start changing my culture because I need a running back, right? I need a tight end, right?
Need a receiver.
I need a receiver.
All defense.
And I need all defense. So I need picks. I need picks, and I need my light on.
So while you're doing that, Chris, I think that the Chargers are really in the catbird seat, to quote Shannon Sharp. But if they were to stand pat and pick, you really can't go wrong with Malik Neighbors. You genuinely cannot go wrong with Malik Neighbors because he is going to be the best prospect on the board. But yeah, man, Chris just made such an excellent point. Eloquently, he played the violin. He serenaded the way that he broke down the Chargers trade situation because of their needs. And you're back because of their needs. You almost have to, right? Man, he's gonna get his shield, his helmet, Captain Trade back.
He's sitting there right now knowing that's what he wants. He wants their 11th and their 23rd pick because he wants to change the identity of his football team. And the kind of running back he can get, he's not taking him in the first round. He's taking him with 37. He's going to get the top running back off the board. Yeah. He's going to turn around and get that guy he wants to be able to do those certain things. He's going to want to continue.
He might go get Blake Corum.
Well, yeah, he could go get Blank, or he could turn around and get the best running back on the board, Trey Benson. But you ain't heard me say that. I'm reformed, man. I'm just letting you know I'm back. But that's what I would definitely do.
Yeah, man. Man, you make a good argument, Chris. You make a good argument because Malik Neighbors is different, Chris. Malik Neighbors is different, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, he's that guy. He's listen. He's got a jetpack thrown on his back. He's a dog. He's a premier talent. He's a yak master. Yeah. But for what I need to better my football team, I'm going to take advantage of the fact of the matter that this is, I'm right in the catbird seat. Yeah. I am in the second tier of quarterbacks that I feel can change people's lives, and I'm going to take advantage of them.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. That's what I
definitely feel you.
Yeah, man.
We only wanted to cover 3 teams tonight because we still got 30 days worth of content to put out, right? And I think we're going to do 2 or 3 teams every time we meet up. Right?
That's what's up. That's what we're going to deal with, man. That's what we're going to deal with.
You and I are Cowboys fans, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Kind of pivoting away from draft content for a couple minutes. We've been here 44 minutes. I might only give you like 5 of Cowboy content, right? Do you think that the Cowboys are tanking to begin a rebuild? Okay,
so me and you talked about this earlier. Matter of fact, you had alluded to it before. We put out a video about this last June about if things went left this year, what the Cowboys would do.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Rain.
Let me see what the name of that video was. Keep talking.
Yeah, we turned around and we talked about because of Rain's big cap number, would the Joneses be willing to do an extension at his age and having to turn around and pay him more money? Him coming off last year, because he was coming off at that point having most interceptions for a quarterback in the league at that time, or in the top 2 or 3. And he had the most after coming back off of his injury, because he had missed those 5 games where we turned around and he broke his finger in the first game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he looked like he was a turnover machine, but he was also throwing against lesser tier. He's throwing to lesser tier wide receivers, and he had a new OC dealing with Mike McCarthy being his new OC, which in turn he played his best football of his career, second in MVP voting, All Pro. So he threw that out the window. But I talked to you, and then I ended up talking to our boy DMV. Shout out to him.
Shout out DMV Cement.
Yeah, man. Yeah, love that guy, man. And he kind of put it out to the point that the report that came out from Ian Rappaport that the Cowboys and Rain have come to the decision they're locked and cocked to go this year. They're not going to do anything special. They're going to go ahead and take that $60 million hit and go forward. So me and you talked, and we're like, hey, are they tanking? It's hard to tank when you have so many good players on your team. This isn't like basketball. Like you could turn around and put guys in and play them and be to the point of being able to lose so many games. I think because you have so many good players in so many different areas, because you got a Micah Parsons, you have a DeMarcus Lawrence, you have a Deron Bland, you have a Trayvon Diggs coming back off of injury on the defensive side alone. You got an in his prime CeeDee Lamb. You've got a stud /guard/tackle, what you're going to figure out with Tyler Smith. You still got Randy Dakota Prescott. You got an up and coming emerging tight end and Jake Ferguson. So it's going to be hard for you to lose so many games so that you can be in this so you can get these bevy of picks. But I don't think they're going to go get a lot of help because they want to keep these comp picks, and that's kind of the Cowboys' way. So do I think they're trying to kick a wall out and try to put some new paint and replaster this thing? Yes. My problem is I don't think this fan base, or like DMV said, I don't think they got the huevos to blow it up. They don't have it because they love being relevant. They love being relevant. And to go into the unknown of trying to go find a quarterback, because let's be totally honest, the last two quarterbacks that have sustained them for the last 20 years fell into their laps.
Tripped and fell.
It wasn't like they turned around and with some great analysis, a move, but this, that, and the other. Them guys fell into their laps. They found Romo as an undrafted guy that didn't want to take enough money to go somewhere else. And then they turned around and tried everything in their power not to draft Randy Dakota Prescott. They wanted Connor Cook. They wanted Paxton Lynch. They wanted everybody but him. He was the last choice, and he has been a godsend to this franchise. But I think deep down inside, they want to make this great. I put you like this, and I think I said this to you, or I said this to John. I said the Cowboys, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, want to be football guys, right? And because they own a team, they can say that. But that's like me saying I'm a gamer because I own an Xbox.
Hey, you said that to me earlier.
I'm not I own an Xbox, but I'm not great at it.
Okay.
And they're not great at this team building thing because they choose not to use all 3 phases of team building. Which is draft and develop, right? Retain your own guys, but most importantly, free agency.
There we go.
And they refuse to use free agency. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, man. I said to you earlier that I believe that the Cowboys are in year 1 of a 3-year rebuild. And I compared what I believe to be their intentions, their plans moving forward, whatever, to the Chicago Bears in 2022. to now.
Okay.
Right.
Break it down.
In 2022, the Bears started off by unloading as much of their big money as possible, from the 2022 season to the 23 off season, right?
Okay.
And tanked as a result. Now in 2023, the Bears then used that off season to bring in free agents, make large trades, and just steadily built upon that.
Okay.
And in the third year of the Bears rebuild, which it seems to be complete, they might have put their stamp on it. Ryan Poles might have did that. They are now drafting for the future and moving forward.
Yeah,
I believe that is what the Cowboys are currently doing.
But going back to what you said, what the Bears did. Okay, so the Bears turned around and unloaded a lot of big ticket items. Yes. They got rid of a Robert Quinn. The Cowboys don't have any big ticket items like that. They got guys that are young talent.
I think that they're going to naturally let those guys run off. Those guys being at this point Dak Prescott. I think that they're just going to let those bloated contracts, which is a lot of guys on 1 year remaining.
They got a lot of guys on 1 year, but the guys that they want to be able to keep as a core, they're going to have to pay those guys. So you're going to have to pay a CeeDee Lamb. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to pay a Micah Parsons. You've already paid. No, sir. Hey, now listen, let me explain something. No, sir. Now, there's a couple of things in this world that they dumb enough to do. Yes. They're not dumb enough to let him go. So they're going to pay Micah, right? They're going to pay CeeDee, right? And the problem is with them is that they never get ahead of the market. They never utilize what the NFL has put in place by turning around and saying, if I got a great player in year 3, I can go and pay him early. Use those year 4 and 5 of their contracts to be able to go ahead and get some of the money shifted around and go from there. No, they always want to be like, I'm be the winner of the deal. But sometimes the winner of the deal is the time you get to make up before you have to pay those guys.
That's right.
So you should have paid Rain Dakota at the end of year 3 before he went and had to get franchise tag. You should have paid CeeDee Lamb early before he got to this point. You should have paid Micah Parsons, but they haven't done that. And they've done that to all their big name guys. It's just not Rain. It's just not CeeDee. It's not Mike. They did it to Marcus Lawrence. They did it to Zach Martin. That's right. The only cast that they ever paid early and on time was Jason Witten and Tony Romo.
I guess Witten too.
They paid them.
And to their own detriment, Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, but see, we talked about this before. Zeke forced his hand. Zeke got suspended. The league said if you get suspended inside of that first contract, you lose your guaranteed money. Zeke said, the hell with that. I ain't do it. And he turned around and he forced his hand. They didn't have to pay him. They just went ahead and paid him because they were saying he had been a good soldier, Because see, Jerry gets emotional with it. He's like his homies. These are his other sons. Where Steven, on the other hand, is cheap as hell and don't understand that and say, hey, we shouldn't have to pay him early. Let him come back if he sits out. That's why the league turned around with the sit out rule of that. There's no more you wiping away the fines. If you don't show, we taking the money. And that was the portion of doing that. That's why you won't have anybody say they're not going to sign or they're not going to come. They're going to take that money for real. And ain't nobody trying to give away no money at all.
Understood, man. Understood. But see, Chris, this was not a Cowboy show, and I told you that I only had like 5 minutes for him. I gave him 7. Right.
Okay. Well, that's enough. That's enough, man.
That's enough, man. You just
I'm sorry. I went over a little bit.
That black rain will take away the pain, as Jason said.
That's what it do. That's what it does. Yeah, man.
Anything else you want to add on these 3 teams we reviewed today? The Patriots, the Cardinals, or the Chargers, their draft plans. Any last minute comments that you want to get out of here?
None of that, man. I think as we go further along, man, the draft is going to get a little bit more interesting. I think after this fifth pick, it's going to be to the point of these teams have to do something they don't do well, and that's draft and evaluate. And so it's going to be interesting seeing what we see, what we think, the direction they should go. And we just hope y'all continue to ride with us, man. please, if you've been with us for 50 some odd minutes, man, make sure that you go and hit the like button, man. Go and press it, man. It's free currency, man. It's out there, man. Just show us a little bit of love out here. Yeah, in these internet and YouTube airways, man. Make sure, man, if you've been this long with us and you kind of heard a lot of stuff we talk about, hit the subscribe button. Man, share it and get it out there, man. That's the only way we get a chance to kind of continue doing what we do, because we do what we love, man. But that's all I got, man. And, as always, man, I love being the sidekick, man, to the greatest superhero out in these YouTube streets, my main man, Brandon, man. And I'm Set It Off Chris, man. And forever and together we'll be Frankly Football. And so until next time,
peace.